Have you ever had that feeling at work? That deep, nagging suspicion that your job is specifically designed to stop you from, well, from actually working? It turns out that feeling has this bizarre, almost unbelievable connection to a top-secret manual from World War II. Today, we're going to dive into how the nation of Sri Lanka, and maybe your own office, seems to have unintentionally perfected these old wartime sabotage tactics in its modern-day bureaucracy.
I mean, this quote it nails it, doesn't it? It's so funny because it feels so incredibly true for so many of us. It perfectly captures that surreal, almost time-bending absurdity of bureaucracy that we all know a little too well. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. What if that feeling of just running in place, of being totally buried in process, isn't just an accident? What if it isn't just bad management? What if it's actually a highly effective strategy? Just, a strategy designed for a completely different and way more destructive purpose. All right, so let's start with that universal experience. That collective sigh you can practically hear in offices all over the world. That feeling of being stuck in a system that seems like it was built with the express purpose of stopping you from getting anything done.
Oh, you know the drill, right? That one meeting that 100% could have been an email, but somehow it spawns 3 more meetings. Or that single form that needs a signature from a person in a department you're not even sure is real. Look, it's not just you. This is the shared reality of modern work. But the question is, where in the world did all this come from?
Well, this is where the story takes a really sharp turn, because the answer, or at least a shockingly precise description of the problem, is hiding in a place you would never ever think to look, a declassified intelligence document from all the way back in 1944. And here it is. This is the Simple Sabotage Field Manual. It was created by the Office of Strategic Services, which was basically the precursor to the CIA. And its purpose wasn't about explosives or big dramatic acts. No, this was a guide for ordinary citizens in enemy-occupied areas on how to bring organizations to a grinding halt using simple, non-violent acts of pure obstruction.
Just look at this line, pulled straight from the manual's introduction. The most powerful sabotage they came up with didn't need bombs or wrenches, not at all. It was about weaponizing everyday procedures, using the bureaucracy itself as the ultimate tool for disruption.
Just let that sink in for a second. A manual, written to help people resist an enemy during wartime, has, through some bizarre twist of fate, become a perfect blueprint for how many of our modern organizations actually run. It's like a prophecy that describes our daily work lives with truly chilling accuracy.
So let's put this to the test. Let's actually put the manual's tactics right next to modern workplace realities. And I'm telling you, the parallels they're frankly astonishing. Okay, take this first tactic. The manual explicitly says to snarl up the whole system by insisting everything goes through proper channels. Sound familiar? Now look at the reality. In a place like Sri Lanka's bureaucracy, this isn't just a process. It's an epic journey, a pilgrimage with no end in sight. The goal isn't to be efficient, it's to stick to a channel so complicated that it becomes the obstacle itself.
And this just breaks down that pilgrimage perfectly. I mean, look at these steps. None of them are designed to move things forward. They're there to create yet another opportunity for delay. By the time you finally arrive at the shrine of missing signatures, you've probably forgotten what you were even trying to do in the first place. This is the weaponization of process, live and in action.
And here's another gem. The manual's advice? Just send everything to a committee. Fast forward to today, and this tactic has been perfected into an art form. Remember that quote about a committee in Sri Lanka being a dimension? This is exactly what that means. A decision goes into the committee machine, and if it ever comes out, it emerges years later with the same conclusion. Needs further study. It's where good ideas go to retire.
The manual was incredibly sharp about human behavior. It pointed to what it called the human element as the real core weapon. This isn't about breaking rules. It's about deploying a passive-aggressive, non-cooperative attitude, showing off some purposeful stupidity, and just generally creating friction among your colleagues to slow everything down to a crawl. And there's no better place for this than a meeting. Which brings us to, the meeting assassin's playbook, taken word for word from the manual. Just think about the last soul-crushing meeting you were in. I'm willing to bet you can tick off at least a few of these. This isn't just bad meeting etiquette, people. This is a list of certified sabotage techniques from 1944.
But why? Why does this keep happening? Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, that brings us to something called the propriety trap. That strange phenomenon where systems that were designed to ensure safety and ethics become the very tools that cause total paralysis.
And the key is right here, in the manual itself. Saboteurs were told to use the appearance of ethical concern to stop progress. By constantly asking, is this our decision to make, or worrying about some obscure policy, you can stop any action dead in its tracks, all while looking like the most responsible person in the room.
This kind of behavior is actually explained by a psychological principle called zero-risk bias. Basically, the fear of making a mistake that you could be blamed for is so powerful that people would rather do nothing at all. They get rid of that tiny risk of personal error, even if it means creating the much, much bigger risk of total project failure because of endless delays.
So at the end of the day, this system isn't really about being ethical. It's about avoiding accountability. When a document needs 10 different signatures, no single person is ever on the hook if it fails. The responsibility just dissolves into the process itself. And this is how sabotage tactics end up becoming standard procedure, not because of evil intent, but because of a collective, systemic fear of being the one left holding the bag.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, it leaves us with this incredible, accidental masterpiece. It's the story of how secret tactics for sabotage just became the normal way of doing things. Standard operating procedure.
And this, right here, is the ultimate irony. In 1944, these were top-secret ideas, meant only for citizen saboteurs living behind enemy lines. Today, these exact same principles are basically taught, they're encouraged, and they're written right into the rules of our organizations. No secrecy required.
And over time, we all just learn how to survive in a system like this. You learn that asking too many questions or rocking the boat gets you in trouble. You learn that being truly efficient can make you look suspicious. It becomes a culture built on this kind of strategic confusion, where being confused can actually make you a permanent fixture.
But here's one final interesting thought, and it brings us right back to Sri Lanka. While it's really easy to point fingers and criticize, the fact that organizations and even whole countries can function at all with this much self-inflicted friction, well, it's actually a mind-blowing testament to human resilience. It's almost a weird kind of compliment hidden inside the critique.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. The next time you're at work, take a look around at the daily grind, at all the processes and procedures. Is all that inefficiency you see just a series of random accidents? Or has your organization, maybe without even realizing it, managed to perfect the art of accidental sabotage?